It's June 2026, and the Spring 2026 release updates are well out there in the public domain for Salesforce, and part of the release updates came with quite a significant redesign for Agentforce, and in particular the Agent Builder. And it takes the Agentforce platform away from being a pure probabilistic type of model with generative AI, large language models, and agents that are fully autonomous, because as experience proved, that didn't work for a lot of customers. A lot of very large enterprise customers, particularly in finance and healthcare, found that there were problems. Agents were giving, how can I put it, less than perfect information. And even if they were only doing it a small percentage of times, this was causing reputational damage. It was not good for the host company and definitely not good for Salesforce, because these customers who wield a lot of clout were very quick to let Salesforce know about it. So they have taken it more over to a deterministic type of model, where it is a hybrid of allowing the agent autonomy only in certain areas, but allowing the builder to create more rule-based workflows, where using if and else statements and using this tool called Agent Script, which looks and works inside an integrated developer environment if you want to use it in a pro-code way, or if you want to do it in a low-code way, you can then work in what's known as the canvas, and that you can interchange between the two. What I've got here is a trailhead which I'm going to follow and hopefully demonstrate successfully. And it starts with taking a tour of the new Agentforce builder. And I have done the preliminary part of it, which is this bit here, where we need to launch a specific playground. You cannot use any of your existing ones, even if you have Agentforce enabled in them. It just won't let you go in. So what I've done is I have done this part here, which is create a new playground, and I followed these simple steps here, which is going into setup, launching Salesforce Go. Then in the getting started and confirmation process, it effectively switches on Agentforce Studio, which is an app that you can access from the front end using the waffle. And the other thing that it wants you to do is to publish an Experience Cloud site. So you follow those steps there. So it's a really simple 500 points to get that far, but the hard bit is coming now. So I have got that bit done, and I have the new org spun up here. Everything is ready to go. To follow the instructions, we need to launch the Agentforce Studio, and then we open to make a new agent in the builder, and then we'll follow step by step. So I'll demonstrate as we go. The first job is to launch Agentforce. Just type a couple of words, Agentforce Studio. We can see that we're in the studio. There are some agents in here already, but we're going to build a whole new one. So we'll click on New Agent. It opens up in a new tab. And you start with the headline question, what do you want your agent to do? So I'm going to paste in the instructions for what we want it to do. You are a customer service representative helping out our guests make reservations, update bookings, and navigate all that Coral Cloud Resorts has to offer. We enter that. I've entered the agent's name exactly as instructed. It's really important that you do it verbatim. Then the developer name auto-populates, and then we have to assign a user record to the agent to manage its access. So it's not a new user. We need to select a user, and clicking in here, we can find Einstein Service Agent User. That's the one that we want, and we select it, and then we click Let's Go. So it says here, chat with Agentforce to build your agent, or skip ahead if you'd rather start from an empty agent. So we are going to select skip ahead. Let's take a little tour. We have 3 zones in the builder. On the left is the navigation explorer. Then in the middle, we have this editor view. And then over on the right, we have an Agentforce assistant. In the explorer, there are a number of menu items under this agent definition. There are settings where you can change the agent details, system, language settings, and then subagents. Now, this is a new term since the release. Subagents was known as topics. The topics under the pure generative model was where you gave the agent its broad job description, and then underneath that came instructions. But now we have these sub-agents with these parts under here, which we will look at in due course. We've got variables, connections, and then data, where we can connect up, obviously, to data. Full details of these definitions are in the trail. So the editor view is where we can go into the canvas area or the script area. The Agentforce assistant is always available to help us build, so we can ask natural language questions, inputting questions into this box here. We're going to create and customize a sub-agent. In the Explorer panel, if you hover over sub-agents, there is a plus sign. If we click that, then we create our new sub-agent, click, and then we give it a name, which again, you have to follow exactly the instructions, otherwise you won't get the points out. And then the description is verbatim like that. It says, the sub-agent addresses customer inquiries and issues related to booking experiences at Coral Cloud Resorts, including making reservations, modifying session bookings, and answering queries about experience details. Click Create and Open. Notice this Experience Management Sub-Agent tab now has opened up in the editor. The next step is to save our progress, so we'll click Save. Now we need to add actions to the sub-agent. So with the sub-tab open, click Select Action down here, then we create a custom action, click, and then we apply the name. The action name is Get Experience Details. We need to pop in the description. Provides details about an experience that's there referencing a custom field that a user would like more information about. Next, click Create and Open. Note it's very particular not to click Create. Click Create and Open. So with this Get Experience Details tab open, then we need to select the reference action type. We've got the name and the description. The reference action type is in this drop-down menu here, and we're going to pick a flow. The flow that we need is Get Experience Details. This flow is obviously going to fetch the experience details, and the next step that we need to do is to scroll down, and in the advanced settings here, we click a tick there to require input to execute action. So on the inputs, we've required input to execute action. On the outputs, we want to click Show in Conversation. We leave all other options as is, and then we click Save to capture our progress. Now, this is one of the areas that we're going to do now is apparently where the old Agentforce could trip up, because it could skip validating the customer's, shall we say, bona fides. This is going to be putting in a security step to validate the customer details. So for security reasons, obviously, the agent needs to validate that the customer is who they say they are. I heard, or more should I say, I read that sometimes it was possible for customers who were very polite to derail an agent and skip the validation, and then it could cost the company money by issuing refunds that the customer wasn't entitled to, for example. The trail asks us to come down here in the Explorer to Experience Management, click here, and then click New Action. And so we have a new action name, which is Get Customer Details, and the description for this, I'm pasting in, validate the customer details by passing their email and member number to see if there is a related contact. Then it says click Create and Open. So the difference is that these are deterministic rule-based steps. The agent, when dealing straight with a customer, would not be in any position to wave off any of these steps. These are must-dos. Now we want to select flow under reference action type. So this time it's again a flow, but it's Get Customer Details. So do take care, because when you're in that menu, there are one or two things that start with Get Customer something, and it would be easy if you're in a hurry to pick the wrong thing. So this is Get Customer Details, and a similar flow, or should I say similar steps to before. Both of these inputs are asking us to tick Require Input to Execute Action, and the same down here. So this email, the email address of the customer, is validating their identity. The member number of the customer is validating their identity. So that's 2 points of validation. For contact output, we click Show in Conversation. We leave these other items as they are, and we click Save. Saving your changes, that's saved. Now we add a couple of actions from the asset library. It says that if actions have already been created, they can easily be added to the new agent by pulling in from the asset library. In this case, 2 actions have already been created and need to be added to the experience management sub-agent, which is what we've been building. Those actions are, first, get sessions, which allows the agent to get individual sessions for each experience. And then the other one is create experience session booking, which allows the agent to create a new record within Salesforce. So under the sub-agent experience management, again, we click plus, and then we click add from asset library. So the asset that we want is called sessions. We can put that in, and there it is, both the get sessions and the create experience session booking. So we select for both of those and we click add to agent. It confirms up here, and then we click save to capture progress. Now we need to add instructions to the sub-agent. The agent now has all of the actions it can execute, but doesn't know exactly when and how to use them. If only there was something like instructions that could be added to give an agent some context on how to use these actions. Oh wait, there is. Sub-agent instructions tell the agent what to do and how to reply. The experience management sub-agent currently has minimal instructions. So we go into the Explorer panel again. By the way, that was me reading the trail verbatim. So the Explorer panel, experience management, I just clicked on experience management here, and then it's brought up the subheading experience management in the editor. And what it's interested is, are there any reasoning instructions at this time? So I need to add the instructions that we've been given. So there is quite a list with some particular syntax and so forth. All you do is just click on to copy it to the clipboard and paste it in. And there it is. Now it requires us to make some adjustments to these instructions because contained here there are some items in quotes like this appropriate action over here. That's just a placeholder and we need to replace it with, well, what is the appropriate action? So we need to delete it and the quotation marks and then replace that with an @ symbol, and then we need to select a resource. So the @ symbol is calling up a resource, and the resource picker here, we click actions and we select the get experience details, which is down here, get experience details. And we can see that there are other resources populated through here, but that exercise where it just put appropriate action to be replaced by a real action was to give us the experience of how you do that. So the next step is it wants us to change the view, and we're going to be looking at it in script view. So we have to leave this experience management tab open and then click on canvas. So canvas is all the way over here, and we then select script because this view is actually canvas, but we're going to swap it to script, and that is what we see now. So this is completely new. This was not available in the old builder. So it's asking us to put the cursor to the end of the last instruction. So scrolling down nearly 250 lines of text. And just a second ago, you saw me scrolling all the way to the bottom. That's not actually what it was asking me to do. It wanted me to find the end of the instructions. So the instructions are here. You can see that there's where they start, and there are 3 of them. And from here where it says do not use the experience name, this must be an ID, we put the cursor in here, and then we have to enter to click a new blank line. And now we're going to add additional instructions, which is number 4, which I'm going to copy. So with the cursor back in here, I paste it in. So what this is saying, if asked to book, use the appropriate action, the contact is the contact ID, etc. Within the first sentence, it says to remove, it says use the appropriate action. So we have to change that. It gives us exactly what to put in. So it's a question of I've already copied it to the clipboard, carefully type or backspace to remove the words appropriate action, and I'm replacing them as follows. So this is a kind of an action, create experience session booking, and it's in curly brackets with an exclamation mark. It says save. I'm going to do that pretty quick to make sure. This sort of thing is so easy to put the cursor in the wrong place and it's not intuitive. You've just got to be really careful when you're operating within lines of code like this, or script, should I say. Now we can toggle back to canvas view by doing that, and then this should translate this script back into something more human. So back in canvas, I've clicked here on experience management, which has brought back this bit and the instructions, and I can see that this is the new instruction that's come in. So we had 1, 2, 3, and this is a fourth one, albeit it's not got a number by it. Now we click commit version and we confirm that. That's very much a DevOps kind of move. It is showing that building agents now has Git kind of versioning going on, and you can obviously roll back to earlier versions if necessary. Next we click activate. Ready to activate? Yes, activate. And then we're going to do some preview. And the purpose of the preview is to do testing, so agent functionality is tested properly, and the preview tab gives insight onto how the agent builds a plan and execute actions based on user interactions. As interactions happen with an agent, the interactions details panel displays exactly what the agent is executing. And this is another new feature, because before it was all very opaque. It was like as if it's inside a black box. You didn't know what was going on. And that, of course, led to a mistrust, because people were saying even if it gave the right answer, it just didn't know how it got there. So we click on preview. You'll have seen that there was a warning there about refreshing the builder. I did click refresh, so that has happened. I'm now clicking preview again. So I've copied the prompt from the trail. Down here, this is the live test mode. Input, can you let me know more about the full moon beach party experience? So you enter that and let's see what happens. Great. We can see it's come up with a response, and we've got an interaction summary here. It says, to provide you with more information about the experience, I need to confirm your identity first. Please share your email address and membership number. Once I have these details, I can retrieve the information for you. So we can copy these in. Looks like it's Sophia Rodriguez with a membership number. It's all entered into one prompt. Click enter. So hopefully that triggers a match. It's thinking. So it then comes back and says, the full moon beach party is an experience where you can enjoy a night of music, dancing, bonfires on the beach, etc. I'm not going to read it all out. And then the interaction summary is a lovely audit trail here with input, transition to sub-agent, reasoning action, output evaluation, and a confirmation that this is against grounded data in the background. So it says, notice that the live test mode drop-down here, there's a drop-down, and in live test, you can see how the agent performs with real data as opposed to simulating with mock data and actions. So using live mode gets you the most accurate test conversation, but any changes the agent makes obviously would be real. So to test it in a safe environment with no impact to data, you would obviously toggle it to simulate. Now, it doesn't ask us to do that. We'll cancel that. And it says to click the back arrow up here, like the way you can leave Flow Builder. The way you leave Agent Builder is to click that back arrow there, not that one. So we're going to do that to leave Agent Builder, and then we're going to publish and update. So having entered the verification details of the email address and the membership, it's come back with the information that we need. So we now have a perfectly functional service agent in the website for Coral Cloud Resorts. And the last thing that it leaves for me to do is to check the challenge to see if we got 500 points. Let's do that. Always a leap of faith, waiting for it to finish. Let's just see. And confetti, music to my ears. So that finishes the demonstration of the new agent builder, and we built a service agent there. There's quite a lot going on, and I hope you find it useful. See you in the next video.